In this session, I am going to explain about a special type of meter called as energy meter. This is a measuring instrument which is used to measure energy consumed by the loads in the domestic applications. So this we would have seen in our in all the domestic applications and in our houses. So the introduction towards energy meter is the meter which is used for measuring energy utilized by the electrical load is known as energy meter. This energy meter gives the total power consumed utilized by the load at a particular interval of time. So energy is equal to power into time. And this meter is generally used in domestic and industrial AC circuit for measuring power consumption, and this advantages of meter is it is less expensive and it gives accurate result. Coming back to the construction point of view, energy meter consists of two important system. One is magnet system, and in magnet system, braking magnet and shunt magnet are the two magnet which forms the magnetic system of energy meter, and to the shunt magnet a pressure coil with shading band is introduced. Pressure coil with shading band is introduced, and the pointer is used to record the mechanism of the data, and it is controlled by an aluminum disc. It is controlled by an aluminum disc. So on all these constructional point view, this meter can be explained as based on its construction. It is explained as driving system, moving system, braking system, and registering system. So what is a driving system? An electromagnet forms the driving system component. It is a temporary magnet which is excited by the current flow through the coil. The core of the electromagnet is made up of silicon steel lamination. The driving system has two electromagnets. The upper magnet on the construction view is called as shunt magnet, and the lower one is called as series electromagnet. This series electromagnet is excited by the current flowing through the load, and otherwise it can be called as current coil. The upper magnet is connected to the coil called as a pressure coil. So the coil in the shunt magnet is directly connected to the current flow through the supply, and it's carry current proportional to the voltage. So applied voltage is proportional to this current, and this current is carried by the shunt magnet on the upper head, and it is connected to the coil called as pressure coil, as I discussed earlier. So the center limb of the magnet has got two important copper shading bands. The center limb is and these bands are said to be adjustable. So what is the function of a copper band? That is the most important thing in the magnetic, that is driving system. So this copper band is, its main function is to align the flux produced by such a magnet such that it should be perpendicular to the applied voltage. So voltage and current must be in perpendicular in nature, and that alignment of that flux is done by the shading bands. The next one is the moving system. So moving system is said to be the aluminum disc which is connected to the pointer, and that is going to be the moving system. So on that moving system, the disc is placed in between the two electromagnets. In between the two electromagnets with a small in the air gap region, the moving system is the aluminum disc in the energy meter. It is mounted on the shaft of the alloy. So where the location of the disc takes place is in between two electromagnet. So in aluminum disc, when the interaction of two fluxes takes place and the moving system starts to move, that is the aluminum disc starts to rotate, eddy currents are induced in the aluminum disc. Eddy currents are otherwise known as circulating currents, and this eddy current takes place when the interaction of the flux and the disc induces the EMF. Disc induces the deflecting torque. So due to this action and circulating eddy currents are observed in the aluminum disc. Coming back to this braking system, it provides control of rotation. Control of rotation takes place in the aluminum disc. So hence the moving system is under the control of braking system. The earlier when we are discussing about moving system, I said that eddy currents are induced in the aluminum disc, and this eddy current in the disc develops the magnetic flux of the permanent magnet, and hence it produces braking action or braking torque. This braking torque opposes the movement of the disc, and hence it reduces the rotational speed. The permanent magnet is adjustable due to the braking torque, and it is also adjustable by shifting the magnet from one position to the another position. Then the next is the registration system. It is otherwise called as counter mechanism. So the main function of this system is to record the number of rotation made by the disc, so which in turn gives the energy consumed by the loads in 1 kilowatt hour. So the rotation of the disc is transmitted to the pointer, and by the different dial for recording the different readings. So the readings are done in kilowatt hour system. That is, kilowatt hour is power into time, that gives you the energy. Coming back to the construction of all these driving mechanism, let me explain the working of the energy meter. As we discussed, the energy meter output shaft rotation is obtained on the aluminum disc, which determines the consumption of power. So now the disc is placed between the two magnets, that is, one is the series magnet, the other one is shunt magnet. Shunt magnet is placed on the upper side, which forms the driving system, and then series magnets are placed on the lower side of the system. So the shunt magnet has the pressure coil, while that of series magnet has the current coil. The pressure coil creates the magnetic field due to the applied voltage, and the current coil produces it because of the current. So both shunt and series braking system are on the upper end, which carries shading band, and these two shunt magnet produces field because of the applied applied potential on the pressure coil, while that of current is measured by the produced it on the series coil. So due to this flow of current and magnetic field is developed, and the interaction of these two magnetic fields will cause us disc to rotate, and this rotation of the disc is being controlled by the braking mechanism, that is braking magnet. Thank you.